Hey everybody, what's going on? Baru here, back inside of the Binding of Isaac Rebirth, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of some racing. I know, what? You'll notice that that logo was different and all of that, and there's some things on the screen, so I'm going to go ahead and explain all of that after we get through the resets here. Starting on the Basement XL, got a Halo. I like starting off with the Halo. It's some nice damage, but this is an XL, so that's a Guppy head. That's one-piece Guppy. We're going to go ahead and re-roll that into the Goat head, which means I still will get my Devil Deal on this floor. In fact, I'll get a Devil Deal on every floor now. I'm going to go ahead and bomb that Tinted Rock. Alright, so let me go ahead and explain what exactly Balls of Steel are, with this racing thing, and what all of this is. So, Balls of Steel is basically a Binding of Isaac tournament that I'm going to be entering, or at least going into the tryouts for, and I need to get better at this game, significantly so. So I figured, why not reboot my Binding of Isaac series with a little bit of racing? I like to go fast in this game, and ideally I want every single video to be under 24 minutes or shorter. Now, the best would be when I can start consistently getting into the 15-minute area. However, RNG may not like me enough for that. But you'll notice the timer at the top, and that starts the moment I actually, jump into my game. And there's a reason for this. As soon as I start the game, I start the timer. And the reason it starts immediately is because I have to take into account the amount of times I reset. I have to keep resetting until I can find, a start that I can actually roll with. And we get Gurglings for our boss. We're going to try and get that attack fly into them. Maybe deal a little bit of damage. I really don't like Gurglings when I have low damage. I would much prefer any other boss, but hey, I guess it's better than Haunt, which is always nice. So we picked up the attack fly, and you'll notice at the bottom of the screen, you'll be able to see all of the items that I pick up. And we got experimental treatment for our boss item, which we are not touching because it randomizes your stats, and the chances of it actually giving me good stats is very low. In fact, most of the times it won't do anything like that. And we got some really nice attack fly damage in there. So we're going to actually be finishing off our first two floors, Cellar 1 and Cellar 2, or rather Basement 1, Basement 2, in just over 2 minutes. We get the Blue Cat, which is some nice HP and Tears Up, and we get Little Brim. So we're definitely going to be using him. We're going to re-roll this into some breakfast. Now, Little Brim is really nice, and there have been some balance changes to make this a little bit more consistent in terms of racing. There are certain items that have been completely removed from the item pool, meaning they will not show up, period. For example, Brimstone, and we get a credit card here, so we're going to keep that. Brimstone can no longer show up. Mom's Knife, Epic Fetus, Ipecac, and I believe there might have been one more item that was in here that was removed, but it's basically removed to make it so that way it's a little bit more consistent with racing, because if someone gets Epic Fetus, it's really hard to, compete against that. If they get that in their first room, then well, oh well. See, with Little Brimstone, he kind of ends up falling off later on in the game, so he's not like, you just take him and win the game. Granted, he is very, very powerful. And rather than try and mess around with all those flying enemies, I'm actually just going to walk into the enemy in there and just take some Blackheart damage. Now, you'll notice that I'm not going to be re-rolling my item shop or item room at all. And the reason that I'm not doing this is because I want to keep my roll up for the Devil Deal. Since I'm one part Guppy and there are a lot of pieces left for me to grab, I feel like I can make Guppy pretty easily. And we're going to go ahead and bomb this Tinted Rock. Whenever I bomb Tinted Rocks, I'm mostly hoping for like a small rock, so that way I can get a little bit of a damage up. Soul Hearts are nice, but because I have the Goat head, I don't really have to worry about taking damage, and my health situation really is not going to be that big of a deal because of that Goat head. Red Hearts are fairly simple to find. Even though we're on hard mode, and all these races will be on hard mode. So we end up getting growth hormones, a little bit more speed and some damage up, and we get Krampus for our boss deal. Now, if he drops the head, I'm going to re-roll it, but we end up getting coal, so that's a little bit of a damage up depending on how far away the enemy is. although it won't have that much effect if we make Guppy with it, which is unfortunate, but whatever. These are probably my most hated enemies. They are just complete time wasters. They can sometimes just take their good old time. They're not gonna open up. I really don't like seeing them in the caves ever, especially when you get the big room filled with, like, I think 4 of them, and I end up getting them multiple times throughout this entire endeavor here, and they're just not fun to deal with. As you can see, like, I could have easily cleared this if they were anything else, anything at all. So we're going to be picking up our money. Now, there is another rule for this sort of race, is that you're not allowed to bomb your donation machines. This is very important because that means that you are not going to be able to... you're not going to be able to get mapping if you have enough bombs. Mapping is very important in these races, so if you can make it, you should definitely go for it if you have the cash and the keys. It's very interesting. You need to go slow enough in order to pick enough cash up in order to get mapping, but you need to go fast enough so that way you actually clear this game in a decent amount of time. Now, we get a Joker card here. I'm going to go ahead and hit that and just see what we get, since I had the roll up, and we get Guppy's collar. I'm not going to bother re-rolling that, although there are better items in the Devil Deal. That makes me 2-part Guppy, which means that if I become Guppy, I'll get a lot of effects. So what exactly is becoming Guppy? Well, there's 6 items inside of the Binding of Isaac. There's Guppy's collar, Guppy's hairball, Guppy's head, the dead cat, Guppy's tail, all those items. And I see Best Friends Forever in here, and I decided to go ahead and use my credit card to buy the Best Friends Forever. And I have a little bit of a mishap getting this deck of cards. I'm trying to get an Emperor card so that way I can teleport straight to my boss, but I end up getting a broken watch, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It has a chance to slow down the room. It also has a chance to speed up the room at a ×2 speed, which can necessarily sometimes be a bad thing. If you get the normal stopwatch, which I think is going to end up being banned in the full version of this, it'll make it so that way every room is slowed down and you can't get the speed up effect, which is really nice. So we get Gertie as our boss. We're gonna go ahead and pick up Placenta, and the Devil Deal is completely irrelevant because we already went in there to pick up our Guppy's collar. Now, whenever I jump into a new room, I always pretty much assume that the game is going to want me to go through the large room, so I just get that out of the way. Almost every time, the game will make you go through the large room, so you might as well just get it out of the way. And there are a few changes with the hard mode, that the champions that you see here are a lot more prevalent. But overall, our build is looking pretty solid. I mean, I would like a little bit more damage, and I end up getting the leech, which isn't that great, but hey, he's kind of there. Best Friends Forever is going to help him do just a tiny bit more damage. But I would like to get some form of base damage increase. Considering my current state, if I was to make Guppy, it would not be very strong, because the flies that Guppy makes are based on your damage. In fact, they're double your damage. So we end up getting Hollow here, and thanks to Little Brim, we pretty much take out all of them all at once. And I'm going to go ahead and pick up the Super Bandage for some more health, so that way I can gamble it away here. So now we pick up Guppy's tail and the Whore of Babylon. So we are now Guppy, which means every time we attack an enemy, we spawn an attack fly. In addition, it makes our followers also do the same thing. So this will be nice. We also get flying, which is good. And because we have the tail, there's a high chance that we are going to be finding chests throughout this entire run, which is both a good thing and a bad thing, because I don't have enough keys to ever do anything with them. In fact, I have no keys here, and there's no point in backtracking at this point. If I don't find any keys, it's not really worth it for me to backtrack, and this guy ends up opening the door for me, which is really nice of him. But in a sense, like, I have enough damage at this point to pretty much win the game, so it's going to be mostly a focus on just trying to get through as quickly as possible. And I have enough familiars, and because of Best Friends Forever, I really won't have to worry about too much of anything. So we're going to be picking up the Polaroid, as all of these races do go. All these races do end up going to the chest, and there's nothing in my boss rush. Now, if you have a card such as a stars card, a moon card, a fool, pretty much, or a joker, anything that would get you out or teleport you out of a room, you can actually steal your boss rush, meaning that you can grab it, teleport out, and you won't actually have to do the boss rush for that item, which is really nice. Now I end up getting Curse of the Lost here, which means that I have no idea where the hell I'm going. I pretty much have to just assume I'm going in the right direction. And this kind of sucks because if I had picked up any kind of mapping, it would have been completely useless. And by mapping, I'm referring to either the treasure map, the compass, or the blue map. Those are 3 different types of mapping. The compass will show where all the bosses and everything is, which will give you a good idea as to which direction you need to go in. In addition, the treasure map will give you the exact layout, and the blue map will show you where all the secret rooms are. Now, blue map isn't exactly... It's not guaranteed to tell you where your boss is. I end up taking a little bit of damage there. It won't tell you exactly where your boss is because, potentially, the idea is that the super secret room is near your boss. That's the typical idea. That's not always the case. I end up taking a little bit more damage there. I end up picking up the pony like an idiot because I somehow thought that, you know, that's a thing. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up the dead cat and re-roll Gimpy into the Ghost Baby. Now the Ghost Baby is nice because every time that a enemy hits, or one of my familiars hits them with a tear, unlike Little Brim, who's not actually shooting tears, but, you know, the Ghost Baby, whenever he hits a tear, Little Gish, whenever he hits a tear, will spawn another attack fly. Ideally, I should not have re-rolled the Brother Bobby for the Mother deal into the Sakdag, but Sakdag's actually a lot stronger, so I kind of lucked out on that one. I just really don't like Blother Blobby? Blother Blobby. Blah, 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 blah. I don't really like him. He's not that great, so I'm not going to worry too much about him. And you'll see I end up starting off with the big room. It's not attached to anything. I need to get better at, I guess, bombing my way through doors. I don't really do too much, and we're actually going to go ahead and re-roll that into Mom's Contact, if I can pick it up. That'll freeze my bosses, make it a little bit easier to kill everything, and as soon as I heard that laugh, I didn't want to wait for all the hands to drop down, so I just went ahead and bombed my way through that. Now, I have no idea which way it's going to be beyond here. It could be down, or it could be to the right, so I'm not going to bother bombing my way through that. I end up getting a Fool card. Not really much you can do with a Fool card at this point. If I had an Emperor, it'll teleport me directly to my boss, which would be really nice for the chest, because then I could just bypass everything. And now we're on the heart fight here. As you can see, our damage is very, very nice. Able to take them out really easy, except for the fact that I'm now one shot, which means that all I have to do is get hit one time, and I'll end up going down. So, not the greatest, as I would be on Cathedral at this point, so be a few seconds slower because of this. Oh, there we go. We seem to get her in a good pattern. Now we have that slow effect on her, and she's dead. So that's it. Lives. And now we're gonna go ahead and make our way through the Cathedral. Overall, not a bad run. I don't think Isaac will be providing me any issues, and I get another Curse of the Lost. So I again have no idea which direction I'm supposed to be going in. And I'm going to have to just kind of hope for the best at this point. And I get touched by a little maggot there, which is unfortunate, but there we go. Much better split on that one. And he should be dead. We're making our way through here. So yeah, whenever you get Curse of the Lost, you basically just got to create this mental map and try and figure out where the hell you're going. Most times, it's not going to work out. I kind of wish I could figure out where I was going, but no, it's not going to. The game's not going to be nice to me. Yeah. Ideally, you want to also, in addition to mapping, you want to try and get the item called the Black Candle, which will remove any kind of curse from your game. So I can't get Curse of the Lost, Curse of the Blind, Curse of the Maze, Curse of the anything, really. It's just, hey, go fight your boss. Be happy, have fun. And that guy gets one little shot on me, so I'm going to come back here again and take him out. And we end up in another dead end, which, not that great. So we just keep going from dead end to dead end to dead end, and it's not a good time. So let's go ahead and try down here. We end up getting Sloth. Even if I reach a dead end, I'll never bomb out of Sloth room because he could potentially drop a card, and his little rotten head turns into Spider Butt, which has no effect for me, unfortunately. My D6 is still more powerful. I should have bombed out of Loki's room, but I decided to clear it because to hell with Loki. I don't like him. Now, this is really the only method left here. This guy I don't like because you'll see that little stomp there that hits me. That's completely RNG, and you might hear that word RNG a bit in my runs. That basically means that's an aspect of something that I have no control over. None at all. Okay, they end up killing me there again, but that's fine because they ended up dying. But yeah, whenever I say RNG, it's basically some aspect that I have no control over. Whenever he stomps the ground, they appear in random spots and you don't have enough time to react to it. You're just going to get hit, unfortunately, if the game wants you to do that. And because I die in one hit, yeah, it's not that great. So we actually end up getting the double speed effect inside of the Mega Fatty room. So we got to fight them at ×2 speed. That's another dead end, and this is another dead end. It's honestly probably faster to just kill them than to try and bomb my way out. Now, whenever I say bomb my way out, that means if I place a bomb next to a door, it'll open, and I got a quick glimpse of my boss there, so this is the correct area. But whenever you bomb a door, it means that, you know, it'll open up and you can go right through. Now, you can't bomb your way into a boss door. You have to kill all the enemies in the previous room, and you also cannot bomb any doors in the chest. So you have to kill all the enemies, which is why having mapping in the chest or some way to get to Blue Baby is very important, because you have to fight every room that you encounter in there. And that was Isaac, so now we're going to go ahead and make a run through the chest and see what we get here. Now we end up getting Book of Shadows, which I really like. That's going to pretty much give me a guaranteed Blue Baby kill, and that's probably going to be the item that I end up carrying to the end here. Bloat, you want to be very careful with. You don't want to be in his line of, well, kind of in his line of sight. You don't want to be beside him or directly underneath him, or he'll shoot his brimstone lasers at you. He can be a bit of a pain if you don't have, you know, really good damage. In fact, pretty much everything in the chest is going to be a pain if you don't have really good damage. Now, I do get the RNG guy in here again, and I end up dying, but I'm not going to use my Book of Shadows because I'm saving it for one thing. Either Blue Baby, which I'll do when I get to the boss, or potentially killing Double Adversary. Double Adversary is another boss that RNG can just screw me over if they brimstone at the same time from two different sides. There's really not much in the way I'm going to be able to do of dodging if they decide to do that, so I'm saving my Book of Shadows in case I find them as my boss. You can get double cage, but with this much damage, they're really not that big of an issue. And we actually get another ×2 speed in here, but thankfully it's just the tiny little spiders. And you can hear from the music speeding up and down whether or not you're going to get a slow room or a fast room or anything like that, so that's why I always have the music on when I'm going through here, is it's easy to tell whether or not I'm getting a ×2 speed or anything like that. Then we get a pretty big room with all these monsters and things like that. And based on the layout of this map, I feel like this is the right way to go at this point. And then we get a double gate. So hopefully this ends up being the correct direction and not just one giant dead end. Otherwise, I'm not going to be too happy, but it's looking like it's going to be the right area. So we're just going to clear out these rooms. And then we end up getting Haunt. Haunt is such a time waster, man. He just wastes so much time. Although you might be able to kill him early if you be able to, with the time slowdown. And there's our Blue Baby boss. So we pretty much won it at this point. It's just going to be a matter of hitting the book and just walking right in. So shouldn't be too bad. And that'll pretty much be the end of this video, everybody. about 19 minutes, which is under our 20-minute mark, which is what I wanted to get for this. So yeah, not a bad run. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this, be sure to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for future videos. I'll definitely be making this a more consistent series because I'm having fun with this, and I hope you're having fun with it as well. So again, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one, everybody. Later.